How do we reconcile the anachronisms in the Book of Mormon? You got Native Americans riding in chariots and using steel weapons, and there's wheat and barley and cattle and honeybees and all sorts of things mentioned in the Book of Mormon that literally didn't exist in America until the Spaniards arrived.
We don't know that they didn't exist. In some cases, the record, again, is a little murky. There have been horse bones found that have been dated to Book of Mormon times, for example.
But 99.999% of archaeologists, anthropologists, zoologists, botanists, they all refute the Book of Mormon. Basically, science.
Most don't know anything about them.
That's what my mom's telling me,
Yeah.
is that science, essentially across the board, refutes the Book of Mormon.
Well, I would say that's not true.
Every field of science. Wouldn't you say that at least 99% of all scientists agree that the Book of Mormon?
I would say 99.9% of the scientists have not looked at the Book of Mormon. Maybe 3% of the non-Mormon scientists have ever even looked at it or had one on their shelves.
And how many of those joined the church?
A few, actually. I do know of some who have. I know of an archaeologist in Mexico who joined the church, an American archaeologist, and her Mexican archaeologist husband. There's the supervisors of the site at Teotihuacan, so reputable archaeologists. But this idea that, again, 99.9% of the science refutes the Book of Mormon is just a crock.
No, less than 1/10 of 1% of the world is actually active LDS. So 99.99% of the world isn't LDS.
Look, probably 80% of the world doesn't know about the moon landing. So what's that mean? Nothing. But here's a book I'll recommend. Have you seen John Sorensen's book, Mormon's Codex?
No, I have not read that
A
one.
big, massive book by an anthropologist at the end of his career who spent his life looking at Mesoamerica and the Book of Mormon. I recommend that. His conclusion from that is, look, this is definitely a Mesoamerican book. It has all the earmarks of a Mesoamerican codex. So it's not a matter of taking polls at dental hygienists or even archaeologists. It's a matter of the quality of the arguments and the quality of the evidence. And I'd say it does pretty well. Now, are there things we can't answer at this point? Yes. But look, I spent my undergraduate years as a student of Greek. There's still arguments about the authenticity of Homer's Iliad and Homer's Odyssey. Some people think that they're pretty strong history. Some people think they're pure fiction. We can't prove that they're one or the other. There are still arguments about the authorship of Shakespeare. My sister-in-law is a fanatical partisan of the Earl of Oxford as the real author of Shakespeare. And she's got reasons. Most people think that's nonsense, but there are reputable people who think it's true. There are always arguments about the provenance of any pre-modern book. But for example, on the matter of horses, there are two possible explanations. I hear laughter at both of them, but they both are actually stronger than they sound. One is simply that there is carbon-14 dated evidence for horse bones during the time of Christ in the Americas. The other is possibly that by horse, the Nephites didn't even mean horses as we understand them. Now that sounds silly, but if you're a linguist, it's not that silly, because a person might look at an animal that he's never seen before and call it a horse. I'll give you an example if you think that's silly. Hippopotami. Hippopotamus means river horse. The Greeks looked at them and said, wow, they're like horses. They're like river horses. They called them hippopotami. In German, a hippopotamus is still called a Nilpferd, a Nile horse. It's not a horse at all. So are the Nephites looking at real horses in the sense of equus that we would call a horse today? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know. They might have used the term for something that reminded them of a horse. The ancient Maya saw the horses of the Spanish conquistadores and called them deer. They're not deer, but that was the word they had. So, anyway, any other questions?